Okay, here is an unedited vlog. I shouldn't even be making this, but a few people have emailed me about a particular video. See that? That's a amount of work I'm trying to get through. Oh, it's just so much. I'm reading this book. I gotta do a report. Gotta talk. I got a lot of things to do, business to do. But as I do care about little things, and actually there's something on my mind, and it helps me to make a vlog, even if it's a crappy unedited one, to get the, oh yes, when I shaved my head, big deal. No special reason. Please say wow now, get out of your system so we can get to the message of the video. Okay, this is kind of incorporating many things. I'm going to mention a lot of things that don't seem connected, but are actually kind of connected. Okay. In the late 1800s, there were some very tough men in Satsuma, from Satsuma, Japan. I think it's in Kyushu. I'm not really sure where it is. This is not a very well researched video, but actually the facts are not much as important as the things it makes you think about. So take that into consideration. Okay, and let's see. So Kyushu, there's a place called Satsuma apparently, and the men from Satsuma were known to be very tough guys in the late 1800s, and the dog's here on the left, right here. Okay, and they were so tough that they considered it more macho to engage in homosexual behavior than having sex with women. And I think I even saw this in a movie the other day I was watching. I was watching Layered Cake, and in the Layered Cake movie, the guy says only pussies have sex with women. So it was kind of an interesting idea, because if you think of it from that point of view, it kind of makes sense. Like if you look at the act of sex as a conquering activity, which I suppose, without much imagination required, you can look at the act of sex as being kind of an attack in some sense, or a kind of one person dominating another. Shouldn't I? We're not going to get into what sex should or shouldn't be, but let's just for argument's sake, let's say that some people see it that way. And if you look at it that way, then the men of Satsuma kind of had a point. Only weak men engaged in heterosexual activity, and real men, would engage with sex with other real men. And the guy on top actually was on top in the hierarchy of the army. So it's kind of interesting. But here's the funny thing: they're not gay, and you might be thinking, huh? What do you mean? They're having sex with men? That means they're gay, right? Well, no. No, it's something called I guess it's kind of the product of a homosocial environment, which means a homosocial environment is when everyone, from what I understand, is from where, and I could be wrong on some things here, but remember, the things that makes you think about it are the things that I'm trying to bring to the table today and to discuss. Let's say you're in a homosocial environment is basically an environment in which everyone is the same sex, all right? And as a result, of course, especially if you're an adolescent and you're growing up, or you're full of testosterone, or when you're when you're young and the world is fresh and new, and your salad days, so to speak, and of course your thoughts will stray to things that are fanciful and romantic, and you will think about some kind of connecting with other human beings, which is really what sex is sometimes. It's just an attempt to connect. And nothing. There's so many jokes. There's so many jokes that I could make here, but I'll try to be serious in this video. So, yeah. So of course, if you are in an all-girls school, for example, in Japan, it's very common for women in all-girls schools to form crushes on other women in all-girls school, and they'll send them notes, and they'll be romantically attached to them. And the same thing in all-male schools. And I have a friend here in Japan who's British English, and just to be specific, and he went to an all-male school, and he told me very off the cuff, he said that we would bugged senseless, he bugged me senseless kind of thing. But again, most of the people involved in these relationships that were at least physically homosexual in nature did not choose a homosexual lifestyle. Which is not to say that homosexuality is a choice, because I don't believe it's a choice, but I believe that it's possible, I suppose, if your hormones are high and you're in a homosocial environment, for someone to seek release or seek connection with other men or women, who happen to be in their homosocial environment. So anyway, got me to thinking about, wow, well, so Satsuma men were toughest guys in the Navy, but they thought it was, they practiced, homosexual behavior, and the British, I guess, made fun of them. They used to say there was the Navy of buggery or something. And eventually, the Japanese caught on to the fact that the world at large considered, we're basically laughing at that activity, and for other, it's a complicated. I'm not going to try to be reductive or anything, but for many reasons, this practice disappeared, and I don't see any sign of. And in fact, today actually, homosexuality is a very closeted. People live a closeted existence here, and if you meet most Japanese people, will not even admit, because they honestly don't think they know anyone who's gay. But I'm sure, of course, I'm sure some of my students in the past have been gay. I've met people who've been gay, but who've never admitted it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But that's not really my question. And then I started thinking about that woman. I forgot her name. Caster, I think it is. Selma Caster. I don't remember her name, but everyone knows she's the black sprinter or runner. I'm not even sure what she runs or anything. But she was in the news, and I guess I'll try to find out her name, put her in the description. But she was recently suspected of taking drugs, and they gave her a gender test. And I don't know all the specifics, but the point is, it turns out that she's got apparently testicles, right? That never descended or something. And she's actually both a man and a woman. Again, I don't know all the specifics. But, Maggie shop. But, making a video! But, here's the point. I mean, I started thinking about, what is she? Is she a man or is she a woman, I mean, okay, she was raised as a woman, and you can dress her up like a woman, but she's got testicles. I'm assuming that she has a vagina as well. And she was raised as a woman, and she feels that she's a woman. Now, of course, she's quite struck with the results of the gender test, which show that she has testicles, and I think no ovaries and no uterus. But again, the question that comes to mind is what makes, one a woman and a man? I mean, and why do we feel the need to identify with one or the other? I mean, from what I know of, the little I know of biology, we all start out as women, and only is the X gene turns us into men, or the Y gene the Y gene turns us into men. But we're basically all women, and the clitoris and the penis are so closely, so they're almost, they're basically the same thing, just in different shape, right? And that's why we can both have orgasms, right? Et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, but we feel this need to identify with one or the other. There is no choice of other. There is no choice of whatever. You're either a man or you're a woman, and you're expected to adhere to the standards of your society and be what a man or a woman is. And that doesn't just mean sex, right? It also involves other things that are that differ from society to society. So, for example, in the late 1800s in Japan, being a man meant joining the Navy and buggering other men, because that's what a real man did. And then after that was done, after your military service was finished, you went off and had a family, and nobody thought anything. Nobody blinked at it. And you were a real man. And if you look back at in Japanese history, like Nobunaga, who's one of the greatest warriors, I suppose, leaders, he liked young men, and no one thought anything of it. It was just the way he was. And he also, I think, pretty sure he had a wife and kids and all that stuff. But it was and if you didn't go back even to the Roman days, when people would, I don't remember the name of it, but they would practice, the Socrates, what is it? Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, kind of mentor and disciple relationship, the student relationship, and they would sometimes relieve each other sexually, and it wasn't penetration. It was from what I remember in my Greek class, they would rub the penis between the thighs. So that was the way things were done, and no one thought any less of them. That's what men are. Now, take this. I keep talking about sexual stuff, but being a man is not, of course, just being able to have sex with anybody can get or father a child. Anybody can do that, right? I think no one will argue that a real man is someone who can impregnate a woman. No, I think we'll agree that most of us don't believe that. But if you look at if I ask my students, what do you think about a man who's a house husband, would you consider him a real man? And most of them would say no. Most of them would be quite turned off by that idea, but they would disagree that he would qualify as a man. Being someone who wants to stay home and take care of the kids and do dishes and stuff. No, that basically disqualifies you from being a man, which makes it interesting because I think a lot of women would probably okay. And I've got a friend in California who's basically a house husband. He's got a rich lawyer wife, and and nobody has any problem with that. They kind of think he's lucky, if anything. And they're both happy. The couple's happy, so what does it matter, right? So, and this isn't just a sexual identification thing. It's the other thing that it goes towards race too. I mean, okay, I have a French bulldog. She's a pure breed, and I completely admit that I don't want, if we're going to have puppies, we don't want to mix them, right? We want her to have puppies with a pure French bulldog, so we can have pure French puppies, right? Because nobody wants the mutts, right? Because they're dogs. But we're human beings. We're not dogs. And I am a mutt. I'm not pure anything, right? I mean, I've got German blood, probably Saudi Arabia, Arabic blood, probably black blood, definitely Italian blood, definitely Spanish blood, definitely Peruvian, Indian blood. But I'm American. And I keep getting these emails from this guy on YouTube who keeps asking me to make videos about Peru, and I love my family in Peru, of course, and I love Peru. The country's a beautiful country. If you've never been there, it's just gorgeous. I mean, Cusco, Arequipa, it's a gorgeous country. But I don't feel anything. I mean, I feel knowledgeable that I'm Peru. I feel lucky I know about Peru, but I don't feel that I'm a Peruvian. I feel I'm American. I feel American. I feel like America's my country, I love America. I don't really love Peru. I mean, I love my family in Peru, and I love certain cities. I love certain aspects. But you get what I'm saying. I don't feel like I'm a Peruvian. But it's interesting, the race thing as well, because recently another guy on YouTube is making a video about he's worried that Japan is going to become. He's a white guy, okay? He's from Australia. And it's funny because he's a kid, and and he talks to me like we're equals, but I'm 42 years old, and in the real world, he would probably think I was he probably wouldn't be interested at all in talking to me, and I would probably think he was a moron and not even talk to him. But on YouTube, for some reason, it kind of stabilizes things and equalizes. It's an equalizer, and I find myself talking to people that probably wouldn't give me the time of day in real life, and vice versa. Like this guy, I'd probably, I feel like in the real world, I would be accorded some amount of respect due to my position as a teacher, my marital situation, my size, my age, my my uppercut, you know what I'm saying. There would be some sort of physical distance, at least physical distance, and definitely some kind of social distance that would occur naturally, but that doesn't occur on YouTube. But anyway, so that's the reason I'm saying this, because I find myself feeling kind of stupid even mentioning this 19-year-old's opinion, because I kind of think he's a moron, okay? And and I wouldn't bother with him in the real world, but he's making a video about something that is kind of dear to my heart, about the fact that he thinks Japan is being polluted by half-breeds, and he wants to be, it's like he wants to get in on it before it's too late, and then he doesn't want anyone else to get in on it. But here's the thing, it's a very typical gaijin attitude. It's a very typical gaijin attitude, and I traveled for over a year and a half in Central and South America before coming here. And just as a backpack, I gathered all my money, and I lived, I camped and lived in the cheapest hotel I could find, and with relatives whenever I could find it, or with, I'd shack up anywhere I could. But foreigners are very friendly to foreigners in Central and South America. You meet a foreigner, and automatically you're buddies. Really, we made so many friends. And it's weird because it was like you almost never traveling alone. You're always meeting someone and going this way, going that way. Well, me too. Let's travel together, right? But in Japan, it's like a dog pissing. It's dogs pissing in their own corner and saying, this is my neighborhood. I'm the gaijin in this neighborhood. And most people do not say hello to gaijin passing by in the street. But in South America, you walk by each other and go, hey, how you doing? Where are you from? Hey, let's go have, really, it was amazingly friendly. But in Japan, it's not like that at all. It is really a territorial existence here. but not on YouTube. On YouTube, where I see the YouTube Japanese vlogging community has really expanded, and it's going here and there, and it's just growing and growing faster and faster. And there's more people who exist out there who have been living solitary lives on YouTube as J-vloggers, so to speak, Japanese vloggers, who are finding out there's a whole bunch of us out there. And I suppose for someone like TokyoBrando, this 19-year-old kid who I half want to smack around, but as you can see, I mean, I'm listening to him to the extent that I'm making this video, very indirect video response to him. Oh, I lost my train of thought there, but yeah, he's a white guy who's afraid that he's going to come to Japan. Oh yeah, so I guess to someone, yeah, the amount of J-vloggers has increased to the point that to someone who's not really looking at numbers, it might appear as if the whole Japan is being invaded by foreigners, but actually it's not. I think I read that last year there were 1,500 foreign marriages, which is not very much at all. I think I read there are 50,000 Americans living here, which is not that much, considering it's 125 million people, So the percentage-wise is very, very small, and most foreigners do go home, and a lot of marriage is hard. International marriages, of course, will be harder. A lot of it doesn't work out, but his fear is that in the end, 10 to 20 years, there will not be real Japanese, So so that's the question. What is a real man? What is a real woman? What is a real, a real Japanese person? Why do we feel like that has to be defined by something that's on your outside? This woman, this runner, this black runner who has testicles. Why can't she be a real woman? Why can't we just accept that? But of course, most of us can't. And what if I found out that? I mean, even saying this is something that kind of doesn't sit comfortably with me. But what if I found out that my wife had testicles and breast and vagina and all that? I mean, yeah. I mean, would I stay with her? I'd like to say yeah. I'd like to say we'd get past it. That's kind of a hard thing to get past, but I'd like to say, but what if the same thing happened to me? What if she found out I had a hidden, ovary or something? I don't even know what I would have to equate this metaphor, but or this comparison. But would she stay with me? I mean, I wouldn't blame her if she didn't, I guess, if she found out that I didn't have testicles, or if I had a hidden ovary or uterus, it was, closed up or something, I mean, but would it make me less of a man? Nothing else has changed except that one discovery that either I have a uterus or she has testicles, or I suppose the same thing happens with people. Oh, you've got some black blood. I guess in the old days, you were tainted if you had black blood. And I guess what TokyoBrando is trying to say, that he feels that people will become tainted if Japan will become tainted if too many foreigners come over here and populate the blood. But what I'd like to say is, I honestly believe that there is, no, I'm not honestly, but I romantically believe that there is a Japanese spirit. There is a Japanese spirit out there. It's like the pioneering spirit of the United States, but it's, of course, a completely different thing. But what I'd like to say, it does exist in a non-tangible way. There is a spirit of that country, of America. There is a spirit of the Japanese. There is a Japanese spirit, and you don't have to be Japanese to keep that spirit alive. So, my little friend TokyoBrando and anyone else who has these ideas, well, that's all I'd like to say, is that it's not in the tangible. That's my message. It's not in the tangible, and I guess I should apologize for taking so long to get to this, to take this long journey on this long 20-minute video. But we got to get past that. You've got to get past the fact that it is possible for one day for a person to look like me and actually be Japanese, and not have the almond eyes, to have the rounder eyes and the big nose, and I could still be Japanese in spirit, just like a man can still be a woman, although he doesn't appear so to be on the outside. So there's my video response for you. This was inspired partially by Hikosaemon, who just had a half-breed baby. Congratulations, Hikosaemon. See you later, guys.